Joining us now for World Brief and the review of some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Adefemi Akinsanya. Good morning, Adefemi.
Good morning, Dr. Rubin. Good morning, Bimbai. Good morning, Bimbai. Good morning, Rufai. How's everybody doing? We are 14 days away from... No.
14?
14. No, wait. Oh my God, I'm so confused. Ojudoba is June 8th. And Salah will likely be on June
5 and 6.
6.
So
that makes... Today is 28. And there are 31 days in May. So then that's 3 plus 8. So what? We are 11 days until Ojudoba.
Okay. Are you inviting us to the horse riding event?
Of course. You guys don't even need an invitation to come home to your home state.
Yes.
So definitely we have to all go.
Yes.
Let me tell you what's happening around the world. Now, it has been 50 years today since the treaty establishing the creation of the Economic Community of West African States was signed in Lagos. And it's for that reason that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is the chairman of the Authority of the Heads of State and Government of the ECOWAS, alongside other heads of government of other member states, are in Lagos for the occasion. Now, the bloc has suffered some setbacks over these 5 decades, most recently the withdrawal of the Alliance of States of Sahel countries, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. That being said, Nigeria's former military head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, who is the only surviving founding father of ECOWAS, is expected to grace the occasion. Now, Nigerian Minister for Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tugar, who will be speaking during the morning show this morning, says that this occasion will be held at the National Institute of International Affairs, which is on Kofu Abayomi Street in Victoria Island, right here in Lagos, where the region was born. Thereafter, festivities will move on to Echo Hotel. Staying in Africa, and today, May 28th, Namibia will hold its first official Genocide Remembrance Day, marking the closure of German-run concentration camps in 1908. Now, this commemoration honors the victims of the Herero and Nama genocide perpetuated by German colonial forces between 1904 and 1908. Now, during this period, tens of thousands of Herero and Nama people were killed through mass executions, forced displacements, and starvation. The Namibian government established May 28th as Genocide Day in 2024. However, some representatives of the Herero and Nama communities have expressed reservations about this date, noting that it lacks direct significance to the genocide's key events. They actually advocate for the 2nd of October, which is the date back in 1904 when German General Lothar von Trotha issued the extermination order against the Herero people to be recognized instead. Germany has officially acknowledged the atrocities as genocide back in 2016, and in 2021 it did pledge 1.1 billion euro over 30 years for development aid in Namibia. Despite this, the agreement has faced criticism for not including direct reparations to the descendants of the victims. Finally, US President Donald Trump's administration has ordered embassies to stop scheduling appointments for student visas as it prepares to expand social media vetting of such applicants. Now, Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the pause would last until further guidance is issued. The message said social media vetting would be stepped up for student and foreign exchange visas, which would have significant implications for embassies and consulates. Now, it comes as Trump's feud with some of America's most elite universities, including Harvard, which he believes to be essentially too left-wing. He says that some of them have enabled anti-Semitism on campus and uphold discriminatory admissions policies. So we're seeing a revving up of the situation happening across these US universities. You guys know that I was also an international student at Harvard. Yeah. I myself had a J visa, and I can imagine that many people who have now in the acceptance season, who are preparing for their journey at all of these different universities, are going to be rightfully concerned, or hopefully not denied, but we don't know what the situation is since this is happening. It is quite
largely, if they check your social media and it's anything pro-Gaza, it will have a very strong impact on the consideration for your visa. What America has just become is a country that stifles free speech and a country that is totally against you if you speak for the rights of undermined minorities. And these ones include those in Gaza, that 53,000 people have been killed since 7th of October 2023. 53,000 people The Israelis were so upset that they killed 1,200 people during that raid on the 7th of October, but the reciprocal action has killed 53,000 people. So these are the same people the Americans are supporting, and you have a lot of these billionaires, lobbies and all of that are totally in support of Trump, and that's what America has become. Do not deceive yourself. During the campaigns, I remember the Lincoln Project kept on talking about the Trump's agenda from the Heritage Foundation. This is all they talked about, and they're executing the blueprint of the Heritage. I took our time to read the over 700-page report of the Heritage Foundation and the agenda they had, and this is exactly what they're executing. So I am not surprised. People that voted for it, that voted for Trump, they knew that this was what they were going to face. Moving on to ECOWAS, 50 years. The question, and Vimba raised a strong point, what is there to celebrate? Because we thought it was going to be a hub. And as with every African institution, we had the Lagos Treaty 75. 4 years after, we have free movement. Yes, probably because it's one of the things we enjoyed. In terms of trade, the colonial outlook has distorted trade potential. Recently, we're talking about a currency. The French came in because the French still holds most of these currencies in their reserves. And once that happened, then other countries, probably it's only the likes of Gambias of this world, Nigerias of this world, that are free to do. So there's no that sincere collaboration. Now you have many more actors. You have the Russians and the likes. That's why the ILTS is not really panned out well, because trade among this nation very small. You said it rightly, Dr. But Nigeria keeps shouldering all the burden. Look at the ECOWAS days when we had to restore peace in the West African sub-region. Nigeria led the way. Abacha did that. He put money in ECOWAS. Since then, if Nigeria doesn't move, nobody moves. Everybody is not ready to put troops down. That's just it. And that's why when what happened in Niger, nobody was ready to move. So all of these countries are being captured by military government. And the resurgence of military governments in these areas, the resurgence of Russia, the fact that there's a lot of Russian propaganda, we can't deceive ourselves, is so bad in Central African Republic and some other places. Russia now owns radio stations. They do what's it called? I'm not saying other Western nations don't have their propaganda tools. I mean, British, you have BBC running on FM stations in countries like Ghana and the likes, and some other countries. RFI is running on FM stations in Abidjan and all of that. So it's their own tool to be able to push in. But at the expense of the suffering people, you now have insurgency, Tuareg rebels, and across board. Look at what happened in Mali. 2010, thereabout, 2010, 2011, 2012, when Francois Hollande then brought in the Raphael fighters to fight off the insurgents and all of that. Mali has been unstable since then. Assimi Goïta said he was coming to fight the rebels. He's not been able to fight them out. So you have that problem across the flank. You have problem of financial, empowerment across the region, which is a paltry GDP. Only Nigeria is prominent among them. So these are the problems. But other countries also see potential. Like Morocco was pushing to join the ECOWAS at some point because they see great potential that we have not harnessed. We should open our eyes.
The potential is absolutely there. Very briefly on Namibia, yes. When we started the show, we took the story around MK Abiola on June 12th and ensuring that we introduce that into our history and national curriculum and so forth. And you see the value of it when you look at what happened in Namibia. What happened in Namibia is what's known to be the first genocide of the 20th century. The irony of that is that as much as you've mentioned that Germany has acknowledged it and they've offered aid for 30 years, Germany has never apologized for what happened. I want to give you an example of what used to happen, especially in some of those concentration camps. Germans used to kill Africans, black people, and they would behead them. Then they would make the black women boil these skulls, these decapitated heads, and peel off the skin so that the Germans can ship them back to Germany for what they called research. And it was all part of the race theory because they said they were trying to research to prove the fact that black people and mixed race people were inferior to white people. So the fact that this is only being commemorated, or this Remembrance Day is being observed for the first time, is hugely significant because it's just a reminder to to young Namibians that this is what we went through to get where we are. And when some of us get so passionate about issues around land and around economic empowerment, it's because we know that we've come a very, very long way. And the inequality we see now is systemic, and we have not yet fully overcome it.
Okay, in 2021, Germany indeed apologized to Namibia for the killing of the tribesmen, they call them, of Herero and Nama communities. They offered an apology. And they also said they were offering development aid projects to the tune of 1.1 million euros. But what is significant is that today, May 28th, the Namibians, formerly known as Southwest Africa, have decided to celebrate what happened to their people.
Commemorate.
Yeah. On May 28, 1907, that was the time that Germany decided to end the genocide. A genocide that was initiated by a man called Lothar in 1904. And the issue was about land and also cattle. The Namibian people have insisted that this injustice must be properly accounted for. They have said they don't want aid. They want reparation. They want something beyond apology for the genocide of 1904. The introduction of concentration camps. They're asking, President Gemborg has made that very clear, for atonement. Now, they don't have that atonement, but the people say that today, for the first time, they are observing this memorial to show that, there was injustice written into their history by Germany, which also occupied parts of Cameroon and other countries. 2, you raised the point about the United States halting funding for visas for students. Well, this isolationism, we have discussed it again and again on this program. Now, many of the universities in the United States, to tell the truth, depend on foreign funding because foreign students pay more than local students. Yep. About 27% of them dominate the American universities. So, Trump administration being isolationist. 2, the Trump administration being anti-intellectual. Because the beauty of the United States intellectual community is that the United States attracts the best and the brightest students from around the world. Now, Trump is saying he doesn't want the best and the brightest from around the world. He even says there will be social media vetting.
Yes.
And that it will be compulsory for any student who wants to come to the United States. That again, it looks like an extremist thing. Trump is complaining that these universities are admitting left-wing anti-Semitism students. But what he himself is doing is an assault on intellectualism. Number 3 is that this is a devastating blow to the universities in the United States and to the cause of intellectualism. ECOWAS, I've spoken on ECOWAS. I give the historical background. The thing to just say about ECOWAS, that we have to worry about the future of ECOWAS, with 3 countries having pulled out to form what they call the Alliance of Sahel States, AES. Would President Tinubu, before he vacates the seat in July, be able to bring them back? They haven't declared January 29, 2025, that they have left for good. Mm-hmm. But the major challenge is about the democratic retreat in West Africa. West Africa has a population of about 250 million people, right? Or more, It has 16 states, and now it is reducing. But on this occasion of ECOWAS at 50, we should focus on the achievements. ECOWAS has done well in maintaining political stability, either in the Gambia or Sierra Leone or Liberia, Nigeria bearing the bulk of the cost. ECOWAS has also been, a nice image. Lagos Treaty, 1975, in terms of calling for solidarity, collaboration within West Africa, even if in Ghana and other countries, they don't respect Nigeria, in spite of the bills we pay. Even if at the Secretariat, the Francophone members are the ones dominating. So the third major issue will be about reform. But the celebration is in order, and we welcome President Tinubu to Lagos as he celebrates the Lagos Treaty of 1975. But please, can they do something about blocking traffic? The president cannot come to town, and we cannot move around.
He's here for a layer.
Yes, he's actually going to be here for the entire Salah period.
Let them,
They're used to it.
Let them manage.
Jagaban is in town.
He arrived Lagos 4 p.m. yesterday.
Yes.
They had blocked traffic since 8 p.m. on Monday.
Very sad.
Blocking traffic in the Ikoyi axis. No. Something should be done about that.
So you're an Ikoyi big boy. Billionaire journalist who were about it. Ashiriti too is an Ikoyi big boy. You see, like
Even on body language.
body love.
I passed through.
Our president. He's not pass through.
No, I'm a pass-through journalist. But, they should not inconvenience us.
So you are taking money.
Let us go and take a look at
If I hear
headlines
struggling journalists
today.
for what again?
Please, today, this day, leads with the leadership of the People's Democratic Party yesterday rising from its 99th National Executive Meeting, NEC essentially, and resolving that President Tinubu's alleged negligence and abdication of his constitutional duties to ensure safety and security of the citizenry. You see what you people do when you start with your unserious jokes? It affects my pronunciations. Have been responsible for the increasing banditry, kidnapping, and other acts of terrorism in parts of the country. Now, they also went on to say that based on the advice from the Independent National Electoral Commission and the National Executive Committee of the PDP, the party has reserved the decision on its embattled National Secretary Samuel Ayamu to be held or sorted out on the 30th of June of this year. Now, the Daily Independent, much like many other Nigerian papers, also takes the lead on this PDP. It's vowing to rescue the party and holding 4 necks beforehand. Now, the New Telegraph and the Punch, as well as the Vanguard, they all lead with Nigeria's debt profile. Nigeria's public debt is set for another significant jump as President Tinubu has requested the National Assembly's approval to secure fresh foreign loans amounting to about $24.1 billion. At the prevailing official exchange rate of 1,583 naira 74 kobo to a dollar, the proposed borrowing would add approximately 38.2 trillion naira to the existing debt stock, potentially pushing Nigeria's total public debt from 144.6 trillion naira at the end of 2024 to 182.9 trillion naira by 2026. Now, the Daily Sun leads with President Tinubu's fury over the stealing of recovered loot and assets and reassures Nigerians on accountability. Let's move on to the United Kingdom very quickly. And the Daily Express says that the Liverpool car attacker was allegedly high on drugs when he plowed a vehicle into a crowd of people celebrating Liverpool's Premier League victory. And finally, we do have the Times, and it does show King Charles and Camilla in Canada as part of their visit to the country. King Charles using his speech to defend Canada's sovereignty, which was obviously throwing shade to one Donald Trump. Those are your papers.
A little bit political. Unfortunately, no time for a chat on that. But thank you so much, Adefemi. I think we still had a very good discussion on other issues.